Welcome to File Lake's Garage. Today we're going to tackle an AMC 20. Alright, so what we have here is an AMC 20. Just painted it, cleaned it up a little bit. It was leaking everything. So I'm going to try to fix some of the leaks. One of the things that we need to do is actually change some of the seals. Now the axle seals, one of them was leaking, the other one was, it was okay. But we're just going to replace them both. Now this is an AMC 20, and from the factory it comes with a 2-piece axle shaft. This one right here is a 1-piece axle shaft because it's been upgraded. Now with that, they get installed a little bit differently. So where is my box? Hold on a second. All right, now I'm back. So anyway, so this guy here is a little bit different. And this is what you get with the kit. So we have a inner ring seal. So this goes around the shaft inside the axle itself. You have a new bearing, and look at that. What's that say? Oh, that says made in the USA. That's right. So other things too. We got new bolts. We have new nuts. We have the outer seal that goes in between the brake shield. That goes on first. This is a very specific order on which to put these in, so I'll show you that here in a second. It also has a very important spacer. Now this spacer is going to help down in here. Now if you can look in here, it's kind of dark. So there is your inner seal, and actually it looks okay, but it was still leaking. Now if you look right behind it, or right there, it looks like somebody used another race as a spacer. So I'm not sure if they just filed it down or whatever, but basically you got a race and then another race, and they used the one race as a spacer. So this was not exactly installed properly, so we're going to fix that with this new kit. Alright, so first order of business, we got to get the old crap off. And it's going to be a pain in the butt. So if you look here, there's the outer ring, then you have the bearing, then you have the shield, and then underneath that you had the seal. Now in order to get that off, the only way I've done it in the past is take the death wheel and try to get rid of the spacer in the bearing, or the retainer in the bearing, without dinging the actual axle itself. Because if you ding that, it's not going to seal very well and you're going to be leaking again. So I'm going to put the camera down and go after this thing. Now one of the very important thing, this thing throws a lot of sparks. Wear your safety glasses. I'm actually going to wear a scarf here, or a bandana, just to try to protect some of my sinuses, because I've been having some issues. But anyway, I'm going to put this way over there. I'm going to zoom in, and then you're going to see me try to make some sparks. I really wish I had smell-o-vision, because this stinks. Alright, as you can see, I cut that little piece off, and then this is just straight across, and I just used a steel chisel and popped it right here at the tip, and that actually just broke it free. Now she's nice and warm. Ready, go. Oh no, there we go. Okay, that was warm. Okay, so the next thing here is the bearing itself. Now this bearing doesn't seem to be too bad, but with all those shavings I just put in there, it needs to be replaced anyway. So we're gonna do this pretty much the same thing we did on the other one. This one's gonna be a little bit harder, only because you don't want to gouge up anything else. And there might be a tool out there to actually get behind this thing and really pry it up. I haven't seen it yet. So I'm gonna take some side cutters or some angled cutters and cut off these little races, get rid of these little dumb bearings, and then we're going to go ahead and cut the retainer and try to get it off. Now you don't have to go all the way through it, because you could use the chisel, pop it, and as soon as it pops free, then it should be able to come right off. All right, let's go. All right, let's get a closer look at that. Now that is what's left. You got to get that guy off. So if you take the cutoff wheel and just kind of score it all the way down, get it all the way down to getting close to the actual shaft itself, it should just pop right off. So don't get too crazy with it, because again, you do not want to ding up your shaft. Nobody likes the dinged up shaft. All right, she is off. So look at that. Look at all that beef. Actually, it's not. This is actually a pretty weak axle, because if you look at it, it goes up, it tapers, and then it goes into the splines. I'm not sure what spline count it is. Maybe I'll count it for you, or look it up. One or the other. So once we put this thing back together, we are going to need the retaining bucket, which that one got dinged up. Not sure how that happened, but I will maybe take some body hammers and make that back better. All right, so this guy's gonna go on first. And then, well, I'm not gonna open it. So then you have your seal, which obviously I need the new one. But this is just for demonstration. So we're gonna put that on there. So we have the retainer and we have the seal. Then, and actually I didn't even have to take my brake stuff off. So then I'm gonna put my brake, the rear brake on, get that to where it'll fall. It goes down there. I gotta get this piece of garbage off. It won't sit still. But anyway, but then you're gonna take your bearing, your keeper, all that stuff right onto here. So let's get the other one off first, so we're not throwing sparks on our new toys. All right, so we have our axle up on its end. Now I have my spacer, I have my bearing. I already put the seal in there. I did put a little bit of silicone around it. This thing is a 1980, so it is, what, 40 years old? 40, yeah, so it's 40 years old this year. And that has been wrung out, dinged up, and everything like that over the years. So just put a little bit of silicone in there. Now, for your spacer, you want to put your spacer in. Get in there. It's a tight fit, but it should be. Maybe I just can't do it with my left hand. There you go. Alright, so that's down there. Then you're going to take your bearing, and then we're going to sit it in there. There we go. Alright, so that looks pretty good, but let's check it. So we're going to get our filler gauges. Now, this clearance should be roughly 0.06. Okay, so I got two filler gauges here. I got 0.28 and 0.032. Put them together, you got 0.06. So I'm gonna put this next to it, and then I'm gonna run my finger across. Now that it's close, but what we're gonna have to do is file that down just a little bit. Yeah, we're definitely gonna have to file that down. So what we're gonna do is gonna pull your bearing back out. You're gonna pull your spacer back out. Maybe. There she goes. Alright, so we need to file this side of it down. Now there's two ways of filing this down. What I'm going to do is go upstairs to the belt sander and just hold it there and go ahead and grind it down, because you want to make this still nice and flat. Okay, another way of doing it is actually going to a vise, sticking that down. All right, so you're gonna grab a file and just go across it. And what you want to do is actually go all the way across. The bigger the file, the better, is to try to get this as close as possible as being flat. All right, so I'm gonna take it upstairs and I'll be right back. All right, so what we want to do, I got my little measuring tool here. Let's zero it out. And then what we're going to do, I'm going to mic this up. We're at 15.8 millimeters. Now we only need like a thou off. Actually, we'll go to inches. All right, we'll go ahead and confuse those Australians out there. And everybody else in the world. Somebody else uses inches. Anyway, so we are at 0.62 inches, so 62 thousandths of an inch. Okay, so I'm gonna take my tool tower and get that thing out of the way, which is awesome, by the way. And we're just gonna hit it on the belt center. Now this used to be an 80 grit bit, 80 grit taper. Probably not anymore. So we just want to take 1 thou off of this. All right. Getting hot. All right, so we're right at 0.61. So let's try it out, see if it helps. All right, so that should be good. So what we're gonna do now is we can press everything into the on the axle shaft. Then we're gonna refit it, and we're gonna make sure we got a good rotation. So if it's too hard, you gotta shave some more off. Now 0.06 is about the general space that they recommend, but each one's a little bit different. When these things were made, tolerances were garbage. Alright, so you probably can't see under there, but remember that one ridge that I was telling you about before? Alright, you seem to be locked right onto that one spot. A little extra grip, should be in good shape. So now, just need to pull it back off, put the retaining ring on, and do it again. Alright, so it looks like everything's in. That actually went pretty smooth. Always be careful with the press. That's a lot of pressure. This one is rated at 12 tons. I got another one in the back that's even bigger than that, but this one does everything I needed it to do. So, as you can see, bearing is on, retainer is on. Now before we put this in there, well actually we're going to test fit it first to make sure it's actually going to work. And then I'm going to pull it back off. I'm going to pack that bearing. And then once the bearing is packed, I'm going to put some more grease inside that little chamber, and then we're going to put it together. And then we'll be one step closer. Cool, let's go. All right, well it's in, as you can see, and the preload on the bearing actually feels pretty good. So I guess that was a 0.06 was the money on this particular one. The other side might be a little bit different, but follow the same procedures and you should be in good shape. So the next step here is to actually take this back off so I can pack that bearing and fill it with grease. I didn't do it before, mostly because if I had to take this back off again and put it back on and pack it off, all that grease would just be everywhere. I already have gear oil over me. So anyway, we'll take this off and pack it and put it right back on. Come join me. Alright, so what I'm using here is some super blue. This is actually a marine grease, and I figure since I'm going to be taking this thing off road quite a bit, let's just use the best what we got. And actually this is what I got anyway. So we're going to use this. So basically what you want to do, since it's already pressed in and I can't really take it off, basically you got to use your finger, dig it in, twirl it, dig it, twirl it, dig it, all the way around until it is coming out of the other side. You want to make sure there's enough grease on this thing to actually survive, because I really don't want to do this again. So anyway, don't forget to get dirty. And don't worry, not everybody that's dirty is rich. Rich. That'll be the Boss Garage, by the way. Alright, so it's nice and packed. Take your time on this one. Make sure that you push enough in there that it does come out the other side. Now I can see a little bit coming up here, kind of mushrooming out. So I think I'm good shape on that one. I'll put a little bit in here just for good safekeeping. So I'm going to stick it back in, and I'm going to call this side good enough. And always try to protect your seal in there, so don't let it rub too much or sag or anything like that. Alright, always remember when you have 4 bolts here, do it diagonally, but don't cinch each one down every time. So I just went a little bit on that one. I'm going to go all the way over to the other side and cinch that one in. Snugly, not tightly. We'll get to tight later. There you go. So you're just easing them in. If you ramrod them in there, it will mess up your seal. It will mess up a lot of stuff. So just be easy on it. Alright. Oh, that feels so great. Now, you should feel a little bit of load on this as you turn it. That is just going to be the preload on the bearing itself. As you roll it down the road, it will loosen up a little bit and it'll be just fine. So don't worry about that. But yeah, that's fantastic. Okay, so the next step is to put the brake drum on. Before you do that, make sure you spray it off with a degreaser, brake clean, whichever, just to keep it from having too much slick stuff in there. When you put your lug nuts on, put some anti-seize on there and then torque them down. I usually do mine about 100 foot-pounds. So anyway, I hope that helps. Go ahead and get out there and do it yourself. Don't pay somebody else to do it when you could do it yourself. So anyway, till next time. Oh, and you're probably wondering why I have my AMC 20 out. Follow the channel, subscribe, hit the bell, and you'll know why. It'll go back into the pumpkin one day soon. Anyway, if you have any questions, leave the comments. I do read them all. So until then, light up.